Again, two episodes that relied heavily on nostalgia, on Clone Wars nostalgia, and it seems like the Bad Batch has a very big problem with plots because the moment it turns away into something unknown, it seems that they can't focus on a storyline. But the moment they get back to what is important, which is the Empire, the future of the clones, Palpatine in this case, everything falls into place, and it was a very terrific 2 episode that we saw today. I'm very much satisfied with it, and to see how actually everything went on. How did the Stormtrooper Corps get formed finally? And what happens with the clones. In fact, the episode itself starts off that way with 79s, a very frequented club by the clones, the ones we even saw in the Clone Wars show. Again, prepare yourself because these 2 episodes are going to be heavily nostalgic, especially when it comes to the Clone Wars era. We see 2 new clones, Slip and Cade, talking about what happened on Kamino, that they can't just let Rampart get away with it. In fact, Cade is the one trying to convince Slip because both served aboard the Venator that Rampart was on when they destroyed Kamino. And it seems like Slip had a reason to be paranoid because Cade is immediately assassinated by a sniper. At this time, Slip escapes and now is running for his life. Back in the Senate, Rampart and his cohorts are desperately trying to push his defense bill, meaning that the clones should be discarded because they can no longer function. Their rapid aging is a deterrent from continuous use, and they should implement a Stormtrooper Corps, something that Bail Organa opposes together with another senator, and we reunite with a Clone Wars classic character, Senator Chuchi. We see that she has grown up into a great woman senator, proudly representing the forgotten, the disregarded. In this case, they are the clones. Back in the Clone Wars show, she was also fighting for equal rights, and we see now that she is still doing the same. But the road is treacherous and hard. We see that Rampart has convinced everyone that Kamino was actually wiped out on a sonic storm rather than what really happened. They destroyed it. Their propaganda runs wild. Mas Amedda is completely in on it, as is Governor Tarkin and presumably, of course, Emperor Palpatine. Amedda demands results quickly, since the defense bill did not pass through. Now Senator Chuchi is trying to convince the other clones that she should be their representative in the Senate, demand equal rights for them. At the very least, if they will be decommissioned, then they should get pension. Her fiery speech convinces the clones to join her side, and Slip reemerges from the shadows to quickly warn her about Admiral Rampart. And then, just as he showed up, he disappears. At the very least, the seeds of doubt has been put in Senator Chuchi's mind. Even when she meets with Rampart again, she makes it known that she knows more than she is leading on to. This immediately puts her in the crosshairs because Admiral Rampart, knowing that she could now find out more than necessary, he sicks her assassin on her too, as well as Slip, who keeps slipping away. To devise a quick plan to put an end to the defense bill, it is Bail Organa who convinces Chuchi to go further, find Slip, and also follow Rampart's money, the diverted funds from Kamino. Chuchi plays the angle of getting Slip to testify as well as find the disappeared funds that Rampart has been toying with. Unfortunately, the sniper gets the best of Slip, kills him, as well as kills both of Chuchi's guards. Now, fortunately, Slip was waiting to rendezvous with an unknown person who will help him. We quickly learn, of course I suspected it as much, that it was Captain Rex. He comes to the aid of Chuchi, shoots down the sniper, and shockingly, he finds that it is another clone. A clone that has been completely brainwashed to be an assassin, a secret assassin of Admiral Rampart. Before they could even question him, he bites down on a death pill and kills himself just in order to not be able to speak. The ironic part that I really want to mention is that, have you realized that the episodes not involving the Bad Batch have been some of the best episodes we have seen? Excluding, of course, episode 8, which, of course, featured the Bad Batch, now that Captain Rex and Chuchi are together, Captain Rex informs them of a mission that he wants to recruit them for, and that is the Bad Batch going for Rampart's Venator. The reason being, Slip informed Chuchi that he had saved away secret logs that will show evidence of Kamino's destruction by the Empire and by Rampart. So Rex wants the Bad Batch to get into that Venator secretly, get that evidence out of there to be presented into the Senate by Senator Chuchi. This episode with the Bad Batch was great, but some of the episodes featuring the Bad Batch have not been that great. I mean, the Commander Cody episode was one of the best episodes I've ever seen, and it did not feature the Bad Batch, if you want to count out Crosshair, of course. Once they gather all together, they exchange information, letting it be known that Senator Chuchi needs this evidence before morning to present to the Senate. Echo also realizes that Captain Rex has been helping all of their brothers all around the galaxy, millions of clones that are trying to defect. This will play a role later on. Omega, now dressed in elite attire, joins Senator Chuchi roaming around the Senate. They also run into Admiral Rampart, who is still not completely phased, but is suspicious to see her still alive. Now, I want to talk quickly about this moment where Senator Chuchi tells Omega everything there is to know about the Senate, democracy, how it unveils and goes, and this is the duality that we have to realize with Star Wars. Why people at first hated the prequels and now we have come to love them, especially with the aid of the Clone Wars animated show, is because it really showed the good and the bad. You see, what Chuchi is trying to tell Omega is that this is the wheels of democracy, everybody has their own pod and will speak on their behalf, even though the clones don't have a senator, a representative. Now they will with Senator Chuchi, and that's how things move along in the galaxy, even in our world. The problem with this, the naivete of Omega and how she really learns how the world works, is when at the end Palpatine subverts everything and uses all the good information, trying to do good, to his advantage and twists it in an evil way. This is why I love Star Wars, because it has that naivete of a kid, but it also shows you the dark adult side. While you should never lose that kid inside, don't ever let somebody abuse it. Now, Bail Organa and Chuchi try to recruit Halle Bertoni to their side. Halle Bertoni, of course, another recurring character from the Clone Wars animated show. She was a former senator for Kamino, and she knows what happens to the misappropriated funds. In the end, Chuchi convinces her, together with Omega 2, who tells her that she is actually a clone from Kamino, and she is angry what happened to her home world. They convince her to testify on the Senate tomorrow. It was a pretty exciting scene, seeing the Bad Batch infiltrate this Venator in repairs. This is a rare side of Star Wars we have seen. We have seen Venators attack ships, roam the galaxy, but not in this state particularly. Again, the irony of stunning clones and then shooting the ships down, blowing them up completely together with clone pilots inside. It's kind of funny, but in the end, the Bad Batch does succeed in extracting the plans that Slip had saved aboard the ship, aboard the Venator. Meanwhile, the proceedings on the Senate have started. Senator Chuchi and Admiral Rampart are going blow for blow. She starts with the misappropriation of the Kamino funds. The Senate is shocked that Admiral Rampart has misused funds that were appropriated for Kamino. With the aid of Halle Bertoni, she informs the Senate also that he has been misappropriating funds even before Kamino was wiped out. Rampart replies with, "Do you believe this disgraced senator," meaning Halle Bertoni, who is fired from the Finance Committee, and he rebukes by saying he cannot disclose the military operations, and the funds were not misappropriated, they were redistributed. There is a difference. Now she moves on to her second point, which is the most poignant, that the Kamino and cloning facilities were intentionally eliminated by Admiral Rampart and not wiped out in a storm. She says this before she has the plans. They are waiting as long as possible, and just in the nick of time, the gang arrives with the plans, and she finally reveals the truth. She shows hollow projections of Tipoca City being completely decimated created and destroyed by Venators, by Imperial Venators, and that this log has come from Admiral Rampart's ship precisely means that he participated in this destruction. And just when you think everything is going fine, well, dandy, and that they have won, they will crush this defense bill, everything stops. A platform is raised from beneath, and we already know who it is. Emperor Palpatine emerges from hiding. Speaking on Palpatine's behalf, Masamita informs the public and the Senate that this attack by Admiral Rampart, this cowardly attack on Kamino, will not stand, and he orders the guards to take him away and arrest him for his treachery. You already see where this is going. Now Palpatine raises his head. He says that he is deeply troubled by this recent revelation, and he even goes as far as to thank Senator Chuchi for exposing this rogue element. This is when Palpatine turns the cards on everything. They thought they were telling the truth. In fact, they were just playing on Palpatine's hands because he was expecting this, and he wanted them to expose Admiral Rampart and also expose the clones that were following his orders. Palpatine simply renders the clones too dangerous that they will follow these orders blindly. They would even destroy their home world. This makes them naive, dangerous, and the fact that they would go to these lengths just to follow orders means that they are simply counted as droids, essentially. And Palpatine himself recommends and essentially implements the defense bill to start the Stormtrooper Corps. This is how it finally gets implemented, and it's going to be interesting to see how the clones react to this, and will there finally be a clone trooper versus stormtrooper battle? Clones going on full rebellion, and the stormtroopers, by what we see from the movies, the clones will be wiped out. Of course, awesome to see Ian McDiarmid come back again to voice Emperor Palpatine. It is always a pleasure to hear him speak. Sadly, also we see Echo leave with Rex. He will no longer be part of the gang. As he has spoke of earlier, he wants to do something more than just take missions from Sid and make money. He wants to help the galaxy that is in turmoil out there. The episode ends on a dark note altogether. Emperor Palpatine has won, Echo has left, and it's gonna be pretty sad moving forward for the clones, and I assume for the Bad Batch as well. Tell me what you guys think also in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.